You were told to be quiet. You were told to shrink. You were told that love meant pain. Here you are. Here you rise. Welcome to Powerful Woman Rising from Narcissistic Abuse. The show where we break the chains of narcissistic abuse, reclaim our power, and step into the unstoppable force we were always meant to be. I'm Azadeh, best-selling author, narcissistic abuse educator, and coach to high achievers. Together, we'll uncover the truth, rewrite our stories, and ignite the power within. It's time to rise, it's time to heal, and it's time to take your life back. Welcome to another episode of Powerful Woman Rising from Narcissistic Abuse. Welcome, Lauren, the Ex-Wives Lounge podcast.
Hey girl, thanks for having me. It's an honor.
Absolutely. Your story, I'm speechless. I'm absolutely speechless, but it's also classic. I want to jump in and talk about what kind of character in you had to be uprooted and applied during the hardest, most painful moments of your divorce?
That's a very good, hard-hitting question. I would say what I really needed to tap into was the authentic person that I knew myself to be, that was torn down, ripped apart, questioned for way too long. Um, as a survivor, as a person that has come out of the darkness into the light, it takes a lot of self-awareness. It takes a lot of acceptance, accepting yourself for making bad choices. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing for me was realizing my truth, not feeling ashamed, not feeling like I didn't know who I was when I knew who I was this whole entire time.
Oh, because Lauren, a divorce, a move, a marriage, these are all big time, one time life events. They don't happen regularly. They don't happen, well, for some maybe, but they're still big life events when you move, when you get married, when you have a divorce. You went through the marriage and the divorce. And the divorce comes with so much grief, the loss of the future, the loss of what we built, the loss of what we had. How, as a mom with a young child, a 6-year-old, how did you mentally take care of yourself and as a mom and the pain of the grief? How? To me, that feels like the biggest emotional pull ever.
It is.
Oh.
It is. It was and it is. And I would say the biggest thing for me was realizing that I didn't have to apologize to anyone for my choice.
Oof.
When women make decisions, especially as moms, we allow the social, the social narratives or the outside voices. We allow that to penetrate and kind of dictate our decisions in, do we stay, do we not, do we leave? I knew when my daughter was 12 months old that I had to get out. I knew. I don't know how to explain it. I went to sleep and I had a dream and a voice came to me and it said, you need to get out now. And I woke up the next morning and that is what I did. I found an attorney. I went to my family. And mind you, my parents have been happily married, happily married.
Right.
There's people that are together for many of years. They're not happy. I mean, the new thing now is they call it the gray divorces, where people are waiting until after 50 to get divorces. So they've lived all those years, probably very unhappily, waited until the kids were grown out or grown up and out of the house, maybe in college, for them to decide to leave. So it's very rare for a woman, a mom, a new mom at that, to find the strength, to find the gumption, to believe in herself enough to know that leaving when the child is younger is not only the most difficult choice, but is the right choice. And I went to my parents and I said to them, I don't know what I need to tell you other than I can't do this anymore. And we can get into specifics later on, but I am going to need your support like no other. And my mom and dad stepped up and said, whatever you need, we're there for you.
Oh,
And I filed, as I said, unfortunately, I filed at the height of COVID. The court system was inundated with cases. And so it took a pretty long time for us to get, any kind of solidification and conclusion to everything. But the things that I leaned on the most were my family, because
yes.
I can't imagine not having them during that. You and I discussed it when we weren't filming. I lost girlfriends that I thought were girlfriends through my
Oh,
decision. I had no support system. I had a therapist, I had an attorney, and I had my mom and my dad. That is what I walked away with. And you know what? I'm grateful for just having those, because there's women out there that don't even have that.
oh my God, Lauren, I just got goosebumps. The resilience in you and to care for your child and not expose the child to your pain. You don't want your child to pick up the pain, the
I know.
emotional grief, the loss, and you still have to parent as you're going through COVID and going through divorce.
Hmm.
To me, that would crack most people.
Yes.
Breakdown. We're talking
Yes.
breakdown, addictions, or yeah, just a breakdown, a
Yes.
mental breakdown where they have to be hospitalized, where they have to it manifests in other ways. You held it together.
Hmm.
You got your mom and dad's support, and then your girlfriends left.
Yes.
They abandoned you because, hey, the truth about relationships is we don't know anyone unless we go through all of life's circumstances with them.
That's correct.
And they left during the time you needed your sisters the most.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. And now they're friends with him. So that was even like a double
Yeah, yeah,
break,
yeah,
because
yeah.
as a woman, you form these friendships with someone and you rely on them. And these are women, these were neighbors that I entrusted with, you know, um, things that we were going through and things that I needed support on, and ways in which we're all supposed to be there for one another. And in those moments, they were the ones saying to me, you can't do this, you got to get out. Where are they? They're not in my life. They made a choice, and the choice was, in my opinion, not the right one, but to each his own. I have no control over that, and that was something I had to come to grips with. You only can control how you handle a situation. You can't control others, and you can't control their perception of your marriage or their perception of what they think you and your ex-husband are like. You don't live with people. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors in people's relationships and marriages. You only see the highlight reels on social media. You only see them at their best. Because I think we live in a society as well where people are very ashamed of,
Yes.
owning mistakes, or ashamed of, oh my gosh, well, I'm a great person, but I chose somebody that's this. So what does that make me? And what does that make me look like? Just own it. Own it. And then do the work. Realize why you chose that person. Realize why you were attracted to that person. And that's been my biggest thing is I am the first one to admit my faults. Were there red flags?
Yes.
There were red flags. There were red flags in dating. There were red flags after we got engaged. There were red flags during the marriage, and there were red flags during my pregnancy. There were red flags everywhere around me. That I was unfortunately that girl from a young age who had her wedding, fully planned out and wanted the stereotypical white fence life. So
Yeah.
I took someone who really had nothing in common with. We're both very polar opposite people in every single way possible. Didn't look at that and go, man, what is that going to look like when it comes to parenting a child together? Didn't take that into consideration, which a lot of younger women that maybe are watching this, or women that are dating or engaged, that's the biggest thing that I would propose to them is, are you guys going to be able to parent on the same page? Because that can break up a marriage quicker than anything. And so,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's just rising from the ashes, realizing your fault in the circumstance, having it put that fire underneath you, and not giving up, never giving up, holding out hope that you keep putting one foot in front of the next. Every day is a new day, and that's what I did every single day, man, when I was in the court system. Just every day was a new beginning in my mind. Every day. Instead of being that planner where I would look at the 5-year goals or the 10-year goals, or what do I want my life to look like down the road? No. What do I want my life to look like right now? In this moment, what do I need to do today to get me through this day so that I not only can stay mentally and emotionally healthy for myself, but so that I can be there for my daughter, so that I can
Yes,
protect my mental emotional health, but I can protect hers as well.
that's pure bad ass. Lauren, you talked about the work, and I can hear it by the choices of the words you use, that you've been doing it and you keep doing it.
Yeah.
Tell me about the work. Most people get stuck in anger, attract another, or hide. You've
Mm-hmm.
done nothing, none of that. You
No.
look great. You look
Thanks, girl.
vibrant.
So do you.
Thank you. And I mean, you look great in the sense I can see the care, the self-care.
Yeah.
Which, do you see what I'm saying? I see the self-care, your eyes, your skin, your health. That's what I mean.
Right.
And so it comes back to doing the work.
Yeah.
Doing the work. We
Yes.
do the work.
Yes.
Like, I want all my viewers to know constantly, we do need to talk about the pain. But eventually, there's a time that we need to move out of it and start healing ourselves, doing the work ourselves. What does the work look like for you? What does it look like? You said, let me start you. You said, looking at how I turned red flags green, if you will. I added that. But
Yes.
how about, let's just say, pushing the red flags out?
Mhm.
You started to look at yourself. What did that look like? Share that process with us.
Well, I think a lot of people have a hard time self-reflecting.
Yes.
And I think when you self-reflect, you're going to have moments where you don't like what you see. And you're going to have moments where you thought you were a person that maybe you're not. And I always saw myself as this very strong, super independent, strong-willed woman. But for whatever reason, I always chased validation from
Ooh.
the opposite sex.
Mm.
And you would think, being someone that has the strongest, most amazing relationship with my dad and my mom, that I wouldn't have been that person. But the way I look at it now, after doing 3 years of EMDR therapy, somatic healing, a lot of meditation, working with a naturopath. I mean, I'll be honest, from the stress of everything, I am currently dealing with a lot of autoimmune diseases. So,
Oh, wow.
I have days where I'm, couch bound for 24 hours. They're very debilitating. And every person that I've spoken to has all said chronic stress, perimenopause, things that are happening to me at a very young age, things that are coming on early that maybe I wouldn't be experiencing if I wasn't in fight, flight, or freeze as
Oh
much as I
my
was
God.
for those amount of years. So the work I've done has made me realize that I appreciate the small wins, such as waking up and being alive every day, being grateful that I'm out of that environment, being grateful that I'm able to provide my daughter 50% of the time in an environment that's healthy, supportive, loving, a place that she can be herself and be an individual, not feel ashamed for it, not feel judged for it. We sing as loud as we want in the car. We, do art all the time together. I allow her to wear whatever the heck she wants, whenever she wants. I will always support her and raise her to know that her being an individual and the things she likes and the things she doesn't like is not okay. And that is no one's choice to try to change that. So, finding resilience in myself tapping back into who I knew I always was, but always realizing too that until you love yourself, do not
Mm,
go looking
mm,
outside of yourself for that
mm,
validation and that love.
mm. And
So,
it's not just a thought or a theory. It
right.
has to travel from your head to your heart.
Yes.
That's when you know you got it.
Intentional.
Intentional.
Hmm.
When it happens in real time, when it happens in conversations, when it happens in saying no or setting the boundaries in real time.
Yes.
That's the thing I want. What I hear
Hmm.
is your recovery work, your healing work that you've done has traveled from your head to your heart.
100%.
100%. And I'm telling you, that autoimmune disorder, all of that, that living in that CPTSD, prolonged
Hmm.
stress, it takes a toll on us.
Yes.
So many women think, well, I can handle this. I can set better boundaries. I'll show him or I'll show them. No,
Hmm.
your body and your nervous system is taking a radical hit
It is.
every time you think you can handle it. We're not meant to live in survival mode in the name of love.
No,
Not at all.
it's not love.
It's not love.
It's
It's,
control.
it's control, coercive control.
Uh-huh.
Lauren, what about community? What do you think about when you hear a community of women that have lived this life, this story, this trauma, this grief? What would you trust that community more than versus a community that doesn't understand? What
Yes.
would feel more safe?
More safe is surrounding yourself with women that get it.
They
Surrounding
get it.
yourself with women that have experienced trauma, however that is. It could be
Yes.
childhood trauma. It could be trauma, sexual trauma. It could be trauma in a relationship, trauma in a marriage. Whatever that looks like, I like to surround myself with women that realize that we are not perfect and trying to chase perfection is that's irrational. It's unrealistic. It's never going to happen. I like to surround myself with women that are realists.
Yes.
I find myself getting uncomfortable when I'm in a group of women that, how do I say, living in Orange County, they're all over the place. Um, Putting ourselves around women that are in competition with one another is what I'm trying to say. Women that aren't able to support another woman, aren't able to get over themselves and see that what another woman is doing, you could learn from that yourself, right? Being female podcasters is also a very tough feat in itself, as you know. And so I love surrounding myself with creative minds such as you who are not looking to put other women down, but to build them up and make them
Yes.
feel and see themselves the way you see them.
Yes. That's the ultimate. Oh, I really believe God works through social media and brings us to the people we're supposed to connect with. I really do. It's
Yes.
all divine. It's all divine.
Hmm.
It's all divine because when we have lived this kind of pain, this level of trauma, grief,
Hmm.
abandonment, betrayal, gaslight, I mean, the list goes on, right?
Yeah.
When we have lived it, survived it, and came to the other side, after we heal it, it's like, what's next? Well, I want to see you rise. I want to see you rise because that takes me to another level
Yes.
of purpose,
Yes.
of fulfillment. Because boy, the phoenix is rising.
Hmm.
We talked about that
Yep.
right
Yep.
before our recording.
We did.
Because now it's like, it's not just healing anymore or doing the work. It's about helping others
It is.
rise.
It is. It is. And when you talk about women that source filling that void when they're going through a hard divorce or a bad breakup in a relationship, filling that void with chasing another relationship, right? There are a lot of women that do that. Those type of women, I would present this to them in a way that is loving and understanding, but I would challenge them to look at themselves and ask themselves why. What is their why on chasing that external validation and love from someone when you need to find out within yourself when you're going through a bad breakup and a divorce. I have dated my fair share. I have yet to solidify a serious relationship with any man. And I've been legally divorced now for a very long enough time where I could be in a relationship with somebody
Mm-hmm.
at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm choosing my happiness and my peace. I'm choosing my daughter's happiness and peace at the moment. If I meet somebody that in my mind is worth my time, and I say that lightly because I was always the girl growing up that thought that a strong woman that would say, "Well, what do you bring to my life? What are you going to add to my life?" I always thought that that was selfish, maybe a little bitchy, a little high maintenance. Hell no. I look at it and I go, "I have done the work. I
Yeah.
have put in the time.
Mm.
So I am
Mm.
worthy of having somebody in my life of the opposite sex that has done the work on himself, that has put in the time on himself, and
Oof.
that is ready to come into my life and my daughter's life, because it's not just about me anymore, and is going to add to our lives and is going to show my daughter this is how your mommy is to be loved. This is how your mommy is to be respected and accepted as a woman. Unless I find that, good riddance. I am cruising solo and I am totally content and happy with
Oh, oh, you are so my vibe. It's like
it.
it's like
I know that may come across harsh, but I'm sorry. Like,
sorry, yeah. No, it's powerful. But isn't it interesting how we used to be in good girl trauma thinking,
yes, thank you.
oh, we're too much, we're stuck up, we're gonna be viewed. Oh, I
Yes,
shouldn't be that amazing. I shouldn't be that careful. I shouldn't be that. That's all shame talking, right? I
yes,
love your energy. I love what you just said, and I support you in that. I'd way rather cruise alone than have toxic, judgy, invalidating, dismissal, lacking reciprocity,
yes,
not doing the work, sitting around. No, because you're gonna suck my life.
right.
You're gonna suck my life. And then eventually I just kind of adapt to it, which is even more
Yes,
scary.
yes, yes. I will never allow myself to adapt to that.
No, no,
Never, never.
absolutely not. And I'm saying this goes for friends too.
Yes,
My
very
circle's
much so.
small.
Hmm?
My circle's small. Only a couple of girlfriends really, and I'm good. I'm good. And even with them, I'm not sharing everything.
Hmm.
I'm not.
Hmm.
Even though they've shown up for me in times of trauma and trials,
Right.
I don't need to share everything with everybody all the time.
No, you don't.
Girlfriends are really for kind of some fun, maybe a little talk, but that's it.
Hmm.
I'll talk to myself and God.
Hmm.
Seriously, it has to be. Because sometimes because we don't know, that's what happens with betrayal. We get smart
Right.
and we get discernment, right?
But would you agree that's a choice?
For discernment, yes, I do agree it's a choice.
Choosing discernment and making that choice and shifting your mindset after trauma and shifting your mindset after being in a relationship or a marriage like that and realizing, because I see so many women, it's so unfortunate, going down the
Mhm.
same path.
Yeah, again and again.
It's like this domino effect, this sick cycle or generational trauma that they just keep, because they're not willing to just take the time to do the work on themselves. And look, it is not easy. I'm sitting here now looking glamorous, but I have put in the work the last 3.5, almost 4 years of living a very solitary life where I did not go out with friends and I saved money and I moved back in with my parents when I was in my mid 30s as a mom. Like, there's nothing more, I guess, like, confidence shattering than that.
Yeah,
Like, hey,
yeah,
mom and
yeah.
dad, I'm a grown ass woman with a daughter. Can I move back into your
Yeah,
house?
yeah, it's humbling. Yeah.
But I was humbled. I was humbled by the experience and I took it as such. And when I was going through it, there was always something in the back of my mind that said, Lauren, you are not just going through this for you. And you are not just going through this for your daughter. You are going through this because you are able now to feel other women's feels and pain that are experiencing the same thing. I always had that feeling. So I knew the Ex Wives Lounge podcast would eventually be created. I didn't know it was going to be a podcast. Guilty as charged. I've never listened to a podcast my entire life. So I threw myself into the world of podcasting, educated myself on what it was about, and just said, I'm shooting for the stars. Go big or go home. And so I turned a room into a full podcast set. I had it acoustically treated. I found myself a PR person. I found myself an editor. And I said, we are building this thing.
Doing this thing.
We are going to
Yes.
blow this thing up because there are so many women that are struggling. So many women that are struggling. And if they're listening, like, I feel your pain. Don't judge me on what I look like now. You didn't see my ugly cries. You didn't see my breakdowns. You didn't see my sleepless nights or me feeling immense guilt for leaving when my daughter was so young. So much work has gone into the woman you're looking at today. And I
Oh,
challenge every woman to do the same for themselves because it will literally change the outcome of your life.
absolutely. And this podcast, Lauren, also sharing your strengths reinforces it.
Yes,
We're helping others and reinforcing it in ourselves and
yes,
and connecting to our truth over and over again when we help someone else.
yes. Paying it forward.
Paying it forward 100%. And women need to know because they're in so much shame,
Yes,
whether it's having to do the work, another failed relationship, and going, what, I'm the common denominator, what's happening? Why do I do this? Like, take the pain and turn it into an asset. Do the work so you don't find yourself back in this place again.
exactly.
Because you will if you don't. You just go, oh, next, another one, another one, another one. And that I see that often.
Yes.
Another one, and another one, and another. And eventually you won't be able to come back out.
No.
It's too much trauma.
No, and at that point too, if you're a mom, you're not only dragging yourself through all that trauma all over again, you're dragging your innocent child through all of it. So if you don't want to do the work for just yourself, do the work for your children because they're owed that.
They're, oh, nice.
They're owed
And
that.
they're owed that. They're in it.
They didn't ask to be born. My daughter did not ask to be brought into
Right,
this world. That was a
right.
choice.
That was a
That was a
choice.
choice that he and I made. My job now and my responsibility now is to make it right for her.
Yes. You're not doing it's a responsibility.
It
What
is.
happened to you is not your fault, but it's
Yes.
damn it if it's not your responsibility to heal it.
Correct.
That's the hard truth.
It is. It is. And we all know women sometimes have a hard time with the truth. They just do.
Yeah, they do.
They
Yeah, they
just
do.
do.
Yeah, they do.
Men, for some unknown reason, you can lay it out for them and man, they can
Yeah,
take it. But
yeah.
you lay it out for women and they're just like, ooh,
Ooh, right,
you
right.
know? And I've gotten that a lot. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and say, Lauren, you come across a little cold or you come across a little harsh. And it's like, you know what, though? If you want real advice from someone that actually gives a crap, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna be real. And I personally only surround myself with women that are gonna give it to me straight. I don't want you to stand in front of me, smoke and mirrors. Life is way too short for that. I'm sorry. So as I've gotten older, I've come to realize that if you're in my friend group, man, you're going to give it to me straight. You're going to call me out. You're going to hold me accountable. You're going to hold me responsible. And I'm going to do the same for you. And I don't know any woman that wouldn't want friendships like that. I don't know.
I know. I want truth.
Same.
We're not gonna build anything on BS.
Right.
We're not even there's going to be a lack, there's no
Yes.
connection, there's no joy in the relationship if you're showing up as a trying to get validation
Exactly.
or trying to foo the truth. And those are some of the cool things from living in with relational trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Relational trauma forces us to because we're seeking the truth so that we connect to the truth, and it's like I'm not going to go, oh, undo the work I just did.
Exactly. But I also believe too, the energy you put out's the energy you get back. So
Yes.
if you're
Yeah.
out there and you're speaking truth, you're gonna find
Mhm.
women and you're gonna find your tribe, so to speak, or your community that all see things the same way you do.
And that's what we want anyway.
Yeah,
That's why it never worked in that relationship,
right.
because they want to live a lie and you want to live in the truth.
Yes,
They want to force you into the lie. You want to force the truth.
exactly.
It won't work. Oh my goodness, Lauren, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you
Well,
so
I'm so grateful for you, and it's an honor to be on the other side of the mic today. So thank you so much for having me.
absolutely. This is just the beginning, Orange County.
It is.
And
Watch
it
out,
is.
OC.
Yes, thank you so much. You are an amazing and an asset to this community of women. Thank
Thank
you.
you. I feel the same way about you.